The story of the Cave of Ghosts. In one of the remote mountains of Upper Egypt, there was a valley covered with perpetual fog, where dense trees and wild animals slithered between tall rocks. There was always talk in the nearby village about the Cave of Ghosts, an ancient cave that everyone avoided because of the legends that said anyone who entered it would never return. Despite the warnings from the villagers, some young men believed that these stories were just superstitions without any truth. The beginning. One day, Jalal and his friend Ahmed decided to uncover the truth behind the Cave of Ghosts. Jalal was an adventurous young man who loved exploring unknown places, while Ahmed was more cautious but decided to accompany Jalal out of fear that he would go alone. Everyone in the village told them to stay away from the cave, but these warnings only fueled Jalal's curiosity, and he was convinced that the cave was just an ordinary place. Entering the cave. On a sunny day, when the village was engulfed in quietness after noon, Jalal and Ahmed set off towards the mountains, determined to reach the cave. They climbed narrow paths, twisting between rocks, hearing the winds scream through the mountains as if trying to warn them. After hours of exhausting hiking, they finally reached the dark entrance of the cave. The cave was enormous, and it seemed like time had taken its toll on it. The walls were covered with dead plants, and the ground was filled with small rocks that had probably fallen from above. With the first step inside, they heard faint whispers, as if someone was breathing near them. Ahmed started to feel uneasy, but Jalal urged him forward, saying, "Don't be afraid. These are just superstitions." Inside the cave. As they ventured further into the cave, the darkness grew thicker, and when they lit their lamps, they felt an unnatural coldness in the air. After a few steps, they discovered something strange. The cave walls were decorated with ancient drawings, unclear but bearing unknown symbols. It seemed like there was something unnatural about this place. Then they began to hear faint sounds coming from deeper inside the cave, almost like distant murmurs or groaning. Ahmed hesitated and said, "Let's leave. This place isn't normal." But Jalal was determined to discover what was causing these sounds. The cave unveiled. As they continued moving forward, they suddenly discovered a room inside the cave filled with lost treasures from ancient times. There were strange statues and metallic weapons scattered across the ground. While Jalal stood amazed at the treasure, something unexpected happened. The walls shifted slightly, and a secret door opened on one side. It seemed that the cave was hiding something even larger and more mysterious. When they entered through the secret door, the place seemed to change. The air grew heavier, and the ground trembled, as if the cave itself was alive. The light gradually faded until they were surrounded by complete darkness, and then they heard heavy footsteps approaching them. The mysterious apparition. Suddenly, ghostly figures appeared, but they were not like human ghosts. They were giant, misty beings with strange forms that blended with the darkness. These apparitions began to chase them silently, with faint whispers that seemed to invade their minds. Jalal and Ahmed started to feel an intense fear, but Jalal was resolute to confront these beings, believing the cave held some ancient secret. At that moment, the ghosts issued warning sounds, as if trying to prevent them from advancing. "The treasure is not for you," one of the ghosts said in a non-human voice. "Anyone who enters here never leaves without paying the price." Escape finally. In a moment of weakness, Jalal and Ahmed decided to flee as fast as they could. They left everything behind and ran through the narrow tunnels. When they neared the exit, they heard the last whispers of the ghosts saying, "You will not leave unless you return what you took." When they returned to the village, They were in a state of shock, their eyes filled with fear and astonishment. From that moment on, neither of them spoke of the cave again. But over the years, people continued to talk about the Cave of Ghosts, and the legends surrounding it grew. After that incident, Jalal and Ahmed disappeared from sight, and no one could find them again. It is said that they eventually returned to the cave, searching for that dark secret locked deep within the heart of the mountains.